Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasoda Nandana Rajajana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Rajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasoda Nandana Rajajana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Rajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasoda Nandana Rajajana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Rajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paramajakacharya Ostatira Satyashri Sriman His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paramajakacharya Ostatira Satyashri Sriman His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada Ki Ananta Gaudi Vaishnavini Ki Sri Sri Radha Radhanath Ki Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Srila Prabhupada's Book Marathon Ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. We will read something here from the Transcendental Diary, Volume 4, Chapter 2, in a place called Bombay, that's now called Mumbai. That's why we have to be careful not to spread false information. I was having trouble booking a flight on Mango Airlines to Namibia. Why? And what about Mango Airlines? It doesn't exist anymore either. So which airline should I take there? But if it doesn't exist, how are they going to take me? So we have to be careful. And Nandamaya said that he wanted to be careful not to spread false information about me. I said, how's that? He says, well, I have old pictures of you that we put on the flyers. And people think, oh no, he's gotten a little older. So we took a new picture. So just like Bombay changed to Mumbai, and neither Namibia or Mango exists anymore. Of course, Namibia didn't exist at all, but we have to be careful to keep up on things. So we took a new picture. He had old pictures of me, not the one in 1972. Then it would really be a difference because I looked like a real child then. So we'll read something about Prabhupada's pastimes and try to talk about it. They also spread rumors about me saying that I'm a devotee, but that's not true either. I'm just a rascal. But the truth about me is so bad that nobody would believe it. So they have to say that I'm a devotee and people might believe that. But all of us, it doesn't matter where we've been. It matters where we're going next, doesn't it? So we'll read about Bombay, which is now called what? August 16th, 1976. Who was born then? Anybody in this room born before that? Three of us, huh? Okay. Prabhupada took his walk on the roof again this morning. People say it's funny because here, like, the roofs are slanted. So it sounds funny, but they're flat roofs, right? When Dr. Patel arrived, they sat for a while in the open air and discussed vairagya, detachment. Prabhupada told him that if one has bhakti, detachment automatically becomes. Now I have got some bhakti and some material desire also. This is not bhakti, this is markata vairagya, monkey renunciation. That does not mean I shall stop bhakti. No, you should take bhakti to the regulative principle. Then automatically vairagya will come. The vairagya is not coming. This means you have not been a pure bhakta. This is adulteration. Who is practicing pure bhakti? Raise your hand. I thought I was the only one. Anya bilasita sunyam. That is bhakti. And because there is not anya bilasita sunyam, it is adulterated. Dr. Patel knows a fair amount of Sanskrit, and he quoted from Bhakti Apya Bicharani. Yes, said Prabhupada, saying the same verse, he is above the gunas. So if I'm still under the modes of nature, that means I am not avicharani bhakti. This is a warning. Therefore, Lord Buddha rejects the Vedas. Because, sir, Dr. Patel said, in the name of Vedas, people are misbehaving. Prabhupada agreed, adding that just as people then were justifying their desire to eat meat by citing Vedic references to animal sacrifices, so similarly there is a class of men now who misuse the works of the Goswamis to justify living in Radhakund. But whether you have followed other things, Vacho Vegam Manasakroda Vegam Pritidam Sashishat, you are manipulated by the Udara Vegam Upasa Vegam. First there is a test, Etan Vega Yo Vishita Dira. Then for him Radhakund. Dira's Tatvanamuyati. But he has got 36 Sevadasi, 36, and living in the Radhakund. My Guru Maharaj wanted to publish Govida Lita. He asked permission of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So first of all, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I'll tell you someday. Then he reminded, he said, yes, you can print one copy. If you are so much anxious, print it, copy one, you'll read it, and now you will see that you have printed, not for distribution. So we are printing these books for understanding properly. Not that. Here is Radhakund. Let's go. Jump over like the monkey. Here is Rasalila immediately. This is what we do, right? Achyutananda Swami suggested that even Prabhupada's description of Rasalila in the 10th canto should not be narrated in public. No, Prabhupada told him. No, why? Krishna book must be there. The Krishna book must be there. But you should go gradually. You should first understand Krishna. And then you'll think Krishna's Rasa Leela. It's just like we mix with young women, and that becomes as polluted because they do not understand Krishna. Manushanam Shahashri Shu Kashchid Yadate Siddhaya Yapanam Api Siddhanam. Krishna understanding is so easy. If you do not understand Krishna, how you can go to Krishna's confidential activities. So this is something we have to take care of. What is the Markata Vairagya? You live like a monkey. A monkey lives in trees and eat fruits. But are they restrictive in sex? No, I constantly have to tell them, go get a room in Vrindavan, right? Because they think that it doesn't matter. They jump here and there. So the trouble is, if somebody mixes their material desires and thinks they're spiritual, then they commit a big mistake. That's why he's saying here we have to be above the modes of nature. So when we're not a pure bhakta, we need to understand that. We need to know where we are in the modes of nature. We need to use, as Krishna says in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he's talking about lust. I know none of you have ever experienced this, or maybe a couple times, right? But he says that you have to use deliberate spiritual intelligence, which means you deliberate on the whole thing. Because if you just look, Krishna talks about the kinds of happiness. You just take a quick browse. Mode of ignorance couldn't be good because it's poison in the beginning and is poison in the end. Mode of goodness couldn't be any good either because it's suffering in the beginning. So mode of passion has to be best because it's pleasure right from the beginning. Therefore it's the best. Raise your hand if you agree. But this one you get pleasure right away. Isn't that what's important? Doesn't that make mode of passion the best? Isn't that what most people think? It is, isn't it? But they forget about the price later. Sankhya means adding things up. What is the cost and what is the benefit? Say, well, you get it right now. But if the cost is only half as much, but the benefit is 1%, is that good? Just like I said, I'll sell you property in Namibia for half price. Is that good? Are you saving half the money? If an acre of land here costs 100,000 rand, and I sell you an acre of land in Namibia for 40,000 rand, how much money are you saving? 60,000 rand? Is it? How much are you saving? You're losing 40,000 because it doesn't exist. So when you sell a pleasure that's pleasure in the beginning and poison later, it doesn't pencil out well to the cost to benefit. So that's what deliberate means. You have to think the thing all the way through. If like the person had trouble with drinking. Last weekend, they drank on Friday night. They had one drink. Not so much of a problem, right? So I can have 2. I can have 3, 7, 12, and 14. And then they end up in a mess. So which drink was the problem? Was it 10 or 14? Which was the problem? Who knows? Number 7? 1? But one drink didn't seem to hurt them. But the one leads to the other. So you have to use the deliberate. You have to think, okay, I have to think this not the way I would like it to be, but the way it really exists. That's why we have to deliberate on things. When we hear that certain people did certain things, or we hear that Mango Airlines has cheap tickets to Namibia, we have to deliberate and find out what the facts are. The facts are, since there's no more Mango Airline and there's no more Namibia, it's not a good idea to try to get an airline ticket on Mango to Namibia, because both of them don't exist. So what we have to do is deliberate. When there's a jury, they tell the jury to deliberate. You don't just come to a rash conclusion. I was on the jury duty, and what happened was, the woman said that the truck came here and hit. Now, America, they drive the other side of the road, so I'm using it that way. It's backwards, but the truck hit her here, and she went all the way across the highway to the other side. That's what she said. When the lawyers from the truck people came, they said if he had hit her here, she wouldn't have gone that way, she would have gone this way. The fact that she went that way means she'd already pulled a tiny car in front of him where he couldn't see and hit him on this side. So deliberate means we take all the information, Not just the one side, right? It's just like if I steal the keys from Radhika Jivan and he's chasing me out into the car lot and he grabs the keys and I yell, "He's taking my keys." Is he taking my keys? Is he taking keys? Yes. But is he stealing my keys? No, he's taking his back. But to most people, it looked like he chased me and is taking my keys. So we have to be careful on these things, to deliberate and know what is the proper thing before we make decisions. We don't want to try to get on Mango Airlines to Namibia, at least not on a Saturday. Okay, so let's see what else is here about going to the Radhakund. Since the Radhakund is the most spiritual place, all I have to do there is go there and I become very spiritual, right? Just like India is the land of cricket. So all I have to do is go there or be born in India and automatically I'm a famous cricket player, correct? Is it? No. So the same way, we have to keep these pastimes on our head. We can't go beyond what is our pay grade. It's important in South Africa that you have a minister of finance, correct? So do you go to Pretoria and decide that you're going to be the minister of finance and now you're a great servant of the country? What are the problems? There is a minister of finance, it's not you, and you don't have a degree in finance. So you going there, would that be a help for the government? You show up at the Minister of Finance office, take all of his things out, and put your things there. Will they appreciate you? They will, because they'll give you a place to stay free. If you do that, they'll give you a place to stay free. Where's the place you stay for free? Where? In a jail, right? Okay. So first we have to become qualified. And the service means we do the service that Krishna wants us to. Achyutananda mentioned one of the rationales given by some of the devotees. They say it is for liberated souls. So they said, we are all liberated. Yes, Prabhupada said, liberated for going to hell. When another devotee said that Prabhupada's explanations in the Krishna book were so clear that they could not be misinterpreted, Prabhupada agreed. No, you read all the books first of all. Then you'll be able to understand. Every devotee, they must follow the rules and regulations. That's all. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya, Chitete Kariya Aikya, Adana Kariya Mane Asha. Has he taken order from Guru Maharaj that I'm going to jump over the Radhakund? Why does he go daily singing Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Ari Adana Kariya? Why should he desire like that? Gopal Krishna started to say that there are always devotees who want to do their own thing, but Prabhupada cut him off. They are not devotees, he said emphatically. Rascals, don't say some devotees. Devotees will hear Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Kariya Aikya Arana Kariya Mane. Achyutananda said, sorry, they also wear Radhakund tilak. There is no harm, Prabhupada told him, but they should understand what is Radhakund and how to deal with Radhakund. Raghunath Das Goswami showed how to live in Radhakund. Sankhya Purvaka Mani Gana Napite Kalavanta Sakaru. He was circumambling Radhakund, falling down, making a mark. That is Radhakund Vasi. Sankhya Purvaka Nama Gatanamimi. Not only counting holy names, but offering obeisances so many times. That is Radhakund. So much vairagya he showed. He can take bath in the Radhakund. First of all, you do this like Raghunath Das Goswami. In other words, one should understand Bhagavad Gita, Yasomati Nandan said, then gradually the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, then ultimately Chaitanya Charitamrita. Without that, simply taking Charitamrita, Prabhupada did, yes, Bhagavad Gita is the entrance, then Bhagavat is graduate, and Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is a step by step. But if one is sincere, everything comes revealed. He does not commit mistake. Stressing that everything depends on obedience to the Guru's instruction. He pointed out, as he had done so effectively in Tehran, that we have a choice. You can become independent. Nobody can check you. Everyone is independent. Yachase tatakuru. But one who wants to be regulated, he has to surrender. That is voluntary. And those who are surrendered souls, they will wait for the instruction of Guru and do accordingly. Even if I say that you do not do it, you are independent, you can do. Even Krishna gives independence to Arjuna. Yachasi Tata Guru. I have told you everything. Now you can do whatever you like. Everyone is free to do anything. But he is actually serious, then he has to do Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Arya Nakarya. Chucha Maharaj asked why some misuse their independence and others do not. That depends on him, Prabhupada said. If one is determined that I shall only act according to the advice of my Guru Maharaj, then he's perfect. One has to submit, like Arjuna said, Shishashte Hansadamam Tram Papamyam. Otherwise, he'll argue. Yasomati Mandan said that even the liberated souls, Nityasiddhas, have a guru. And Prabhupada emphasized what it means to be liberated. As soon as he says liberated, he is rascal. A liberated soul will never say, I am liberated. That is liberated. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is God. See, that's the way we should never over-evaluate our position and think that we're so great. We should never think, even the liberated souls, like Prabhupada talks about how we're controlled by the modes of nature. Prabhupada's not controlled by modes of nature, but it's better to talk that way because if you just pretend, if you know that you can become subject to the modes, then you're careful. Just like the person says that, well, I'm so good at driving, I can blindfold myself and drive, correct? I can even get drunk and drive blindfolded because I'm good at driving. Is that a correct assumption? No, it isn't. To be above the modes, we have to not act in the modes. And as they say, pretty is as pretty does. We have to act as a devotee. In the beginning, we're just worshiping with devotion. We don't imagine that we're liberated. But you see, the Goswamis were walking around saying, where is Radha and Krishna? I feel such separation from Radha and Krishna. So we want Krishna's association and Radha's association. So what we do is if we want something badly enough, just like if you want money, you could get a job and wait for money, or you could just go in the bank and try to take it out. That's better because you get the money right away, correct? Just like if you want to be in Krishna's Leela, you don't worry about waiting till Krishna invites you. Just like they say there's crashers to a party, or like a wedding crashers. You just crash the party. You don't wait for an invitation. Say it's some important dignitary. You just show up at the wedding and force yourself into the wedding. So if we want to be in Krishna's Leela, we look at the Radha Kund and we say, Krishna, I want to be in your Leela badly. So I'm just going to jump in the Radha Kund. Is this what I should do? Should I jump in the Radha Kund with my hearing aids and force my way into Radha and Krishna's Leela? Or will a couple of mistakes be made by there? What are the mistakes? What mistakes? You have to come up with answers. That's That's not hypothetical. What mistakes am I making to jump in the Radha Kund with hearing aids, trying to force my way into Krishna's Leela? Is that a mistake or is that a good way to go? Mistake? How so? They stop working, right? And what else? You can't? I figure I'm 50% surrendered, because half the time I let Krishna do things his way, and the other half I try to force him to do it my way. Is that what we call 50% surrendered? No. So we have to be careful in this. If we're not totally surrendered, that's not a surprise. But we have to understand where we're factually at, right? And not think that we're overqualified from what our actual position is. We have to wait until Krishna invites us into his Leela. The Madhurya Leela might be the highest Leela, but first a person has to actually come to the stage of where he has a passive relationship with Krishna. And then he moves to servitorship, and then to friendship, and then to parental, and then to Madhurya Leela. Or do we just imagine that we're a gopi? Some people imagine that they're a gopi and they wear a sari, and they imagine that they're in Krishna's Leela, and they call themselves liberated souls. But other people would call them something different, wouldn't they? It doesn't look right for a man to put on a sari and pretend he's in a relationship with Krishna. You might get the wrong impression, right? But you're already making the wrong impression. So we have to be happy in whatever position Krishna is giving us to serve. Let's see what else is said here. My Guru Maharaj saw me as full number one, and he has chastised me. He is God. This is the example. If one remains always a servant, everlastingly of Guru, then he is liberated. As soon as he thinks he is liberated, he's a rascal. That is the teaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You must be ready, always to be chastised by Guru. Then he's liberated. As soon as he thinks that I am beyond this chastisement, I am liberated. He's a rascal. This is Sahajavada. He is thinking, oh, I have become liberated. I don't require any direction of my Guru. I'm liberated. Then he's rascal. He had some strong words about his godbrothers. Why this Gaudiya Math failed? Because they tried to become more than Guru. He, before passing away, he gave all direction and never said this man should be the next Acharya. But these people, just after passing away, they began to fight. Who shall be Acharya? That is the failure. They never thought why Guru Maharaj gave us instructions on so many things, why he did not say this man should be Acharya. They wanted to create artificially some Acharya, and everything failed. They did not consider, even with common sense, that if Guru Maharaj wanted to appoint someone, why did he not say? He said so many things, and this point he missed, the real point, and they insist upon it. They declared some unfit person to become Acharya. Then another came, then another Charya, then another Charya. So better to remain a foolish person, perpetually to be directed by Guru Maharaj. That is perfection. And as soon as he learns the Guru Maharaj is dead, now I am so advanced that I can kill my Guru and I can become Guru. Then he's finished. As he left the roof, Prabhupada cautioned us once more about Radha Kund. He said we should not bathe in Radha Kund, but we should simply touch the water to our heads. He said that unless one is very respectful to the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, they cannot bathe there. It is only for very advanced souls. And there we have it, right? Based on this, who's ready to jump into the Radhakund and swim to the bottom? After breakfast, Giriraj Prabhu discussed with Srila Prabhupada the requirements for men who desire to live with us after they retire. Prabhupada says the main thing is that they may not live with their wife and they must attend our programs. Retirement does not mean everything nil. It means to retire from material life to increase spiritual life. He offered his own example of becoming more active in preaching work after his retirement. So anyone who wishes to come and live with us must live in the same way. It is not for becoming lazy. At about 5 p.m., with everything packed to leave, Prabhupada went down and walked around the building site, carefully inspecting the progress. 6 floors and 2 towers are up, and the temple and theater are both begun. In this area, where the Darshan Mandap will be, the devotees have erected a temporary stage and set out rows of chairs among the construction work and scaffolding. Taking a front seat row, Srila Prabhupada spent the next half hour enjoying the first act of the play, put on by the devotees, entitled The Appearance of Lord Krishna. It ended with Jagat Purush Das in the lead role as King Kamsa, rolling on the floor in madness at the impending appearance of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada enjoyed the performance and applauded enthusiastically. Then he rose and left directly to the airport. Somehow, although Prabhupada's car left first, some devotees managed to arrive at the airport before him. When he stepped out onto the curb, Ananga Manjari and Adityadasis were there, shouting, "Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada." Ananga Manjari had played Devaki in the drama, and she was still dressed in her costume. Her makeup was smeared by tears, shed in anticipation of Prabhupada's departure. But despite her unusual appearance, or perhaps of it, Srila Prabhupada smiled widely. He stood for a moment as the 2 women offered their obeisances and continued to stand and smile at them as they got up. Then as they jumped up and down in the bliss of recognition, he proceeded into the airport. 7:15. Accompanied by Vasu Ghosh and Riksaraj Prabhus, we flew to Hyderabad on a French caravel. Akshay Das has been chosen as the new guard who will join us in the Hyderabad. What is a French caravel? Who knows? Anybody know? Some idea? What is it? Is it a boat, a plane, or a bus? What is it? Which? A bus? No, it's a plane. Is it a jet or a piston engine airplane? It's what? Piston. Just like the cars, not a jet. Before the jets. And these planes in monsoon, because normally in the jet, they turn the engines almost off, which means you hit clouds, it's more bumpy. But what the caravels do is they come to the airport, and because it's rough when you do that, they dive straight down on the airport and land in the monsoon. And what month was this? You know what temple this is being talked about here that we were reading about? What temple is it? This is August, so this was during monsoon. What temple is this talking about? Anybody know? What temple are they in where they're building it? There's 2 towers and there's a theater. Where is it? Anybody know? Radhika Jivan? We'll have to give you hints. Sukumari must know. Your husband was just there? What is it? Juhu. They told Prabhupada not to build in Juhu, Just like Vrindavan, they said, don't build in these places, no one will come. So, was Prabhupada wrong in building there ahead of time? Or should he have waited till the property was very expensive and bought it then? Which would be better? What's that? Better to wait till later and pay more money? And maybe you wouldn't be able to get 4 acres in Juhu. 4 acres, is that worth the same as, is that worth 4 times what 1 acre would be? No, it's worth more because it's all touching together, right? How many acres on this property? How many? How many? 1. The Juhu has 4. It's even bigger, right? So, think how big the Juhu is. But no one would come. Maybe they're glad that no one comes. Because some Sundays, you know how many people come? 100,000. They have the programs. When does Sunday program go there? It starts about Mangal Arti time. Goes all the way till 9 at night. Because if you're going to get 100,000 people, you need to stagger it over about 15 hours, don't you? Some come early morning, some come mid-morning, some come late morning, some come early afternoon, some come mid-afternoon, some come late afternoon, some come early evening, some late evening, and some into the night. Can't have them all come at once, right? You can't have an 11 o'clock program for 100,000 people. So think of the huge crowd they get here. How many do we get here? Somewhere between 300 and 600, depending on a Sunday. And how many does Phoenix get? Anybody know? Nobody? Does Phoenix get the same or this one gets more? Nobody knows? I'll have to find out. I get to be here tomorrow, and we're going to talk about bringing people to Krishna consciousness. Does that sound like a good idea? We'll talk about that tomorrow. Class is at 11 or 11:30? 11:30, okay. I'll be here. You know why? I don't like to miss class, especially when it's my own. So we're going to talk about that, how we can bring people to Krishna consciousness. And we saw this here. It's better to underrate ourselves than overrate ourselves. Better to think we're just a humble servant and try to serve others than think other people need to listen to me. If we're all here to be helpful, Radhanath Swami was giving a class and he said, how do we deal with people? Would it A, be point out all their faults, even the ones you made up? Some people are so good at fault finding, you don't even have to find faults. They can make up faults in you. I was talking about Laguna Beach. Tukaram asked me in Laguna Beach, why do people keep asking me about the soybean abhishek? There was an article on the Sampradaya Sun about a soybean abhishek using soybean oil instead of milk for an abhishek. I said, well, it must be the article this one person wrote on the Sampradaya Sun. So he looked at the article and he called the person up and he said, why did you write an article about the soybean abhishek? We never had such a thing. And he said, well, at the Sunday feast, I didn't get any paneer sabji. So Tukaram says, well, why didn't you write an article about that? It may be petty, but at least it's the truth, right? It's better to bring it to that. Why didn't you write an article about that? So people put that on there and other people are criticizing. And then some people say, oh, they did a soybean abhishek in Laguna Beach. And they said the temple president there is against the public chanting. So the next time we had a festival and the temple president out playing the kartal said, take pictures, put it on the Facebook and all the sites, because that says it all. If the temple president is at the public Harinama, when we do a big procession to Main Beach, playing the kartals, then he's probably not forbidding public chanting, correct? Doesn't that say what the truth is? Isn't it? Then you don't have to ask. Like the snakes, you may wonder about some snakes, like which is dangerous, the sheep snake or the mamba. But the death adder, you don't have to ask. So if there's a picture of him on Facebook on the public chanting, then he can't be against it. So we have to be careful not to buy into the things. People ask me, well, is the soybean abhishek bona fide? Since it didn't happen, why are we talking about it? She says, well, how do you do that? And is it bona fide? And when is it happening again? I said, it never happened before. So how do we know how to do it? So sometimes people talk about things that didn't happen. It's like getting on that Mango Airlines flight to Namibia. Sure, you can get the flight on Mango Airlines cheap. You can buy property in Namibia cheap. But since neither Mango Airlines or Namibia exists, doesn't matter how cheap you get it. It isn't going to get you anywhere. So that's why we have to verify. And people make up the stories in that. It's the one person said, that's why if we're quoting from scripture, we want to make sure it's there. The one person said to him, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that life is a game, you just have to play it. So Tukaram says, oh really, where is that verse? And the person's looking through the Gita. Why was it hard for him to find that verse? What? Because it's not there. That makes it very difficult to find it. You may find verses that are there, but how are you going to find a verse that's not there? And he just let the person look through it. So before you quote a verse, you want to find out that it's actually there before we quote it. And before we report the things that happened, like the soybean abhishek, we need to find out that it really happened or not. So generally it's like we see here, Prabhupada wants us to follow the program of devotion and not think we're qualified to go to the Radhakund. Because which is better? We want to be in Krishna's Leela badly. So we imagine that we're in Krishna's Leela. And then we don't have to strive to be in it, right? Is that better? Or is it better to be thinking, I'm missing Krishna and I want Krishna to appear to me? If you think you already have it. If a man likes a woman but doesn't tell her, maybe he'd like to marry her. But he follows her all around and tells people he's married to her. That's just as good, right? Is it? Or is there some objection to that? Is there objection? If the man follows the woman everywhere, does he get in trouble? Doesn't he first have to meet them first and see when they're ready? Do you just show up at a job and start working? Or do you have to see that they actually want to hire you for that position and invite you there? Or you decide that you're working there and just take money away. Hey, why are you taking money? Well, I decided I'm working here. Does that work? No. So we can't think that we're ready to live in the Radhakund. We don't jump in the Radhakund. Some of the devotees went there and they were playing water polo in the Radhakund. And Prabhupada was not happy about this. So we have to look at the things that Prabhupada wants us to do. And it's all right if we don't totally measure up. But to think that we're more qualified than what our position is, we have to all be willing to help. It's like he says, how can we be helpful? That's almost better than trying to be of service. He says, yes, I just want to serve you good. You need to give me a ride. You need to give me this. You need to do that. Because sometimes being of service to somebody is not exactly what's good for them. We have to know what's good for people. We have to know how we can be helpful. Sometimes what's being helpful to people may not be exactly what they want to hear. Like I was walking down here and they were doing a braai, and they said to someone, you know that where they smoke the meat and they put the barbecue sauce on it? That's one of the most unhealthy things you can eat. She says, I don't appreciate hearing that. Trouble is, it's true. The meat is already bad. But when they add the barbecue sauce to it, it creates a very dangerous chemical, cancer-causing, called acrylamide. Right? Like if I'm in Vrindavan and someone says, hey, they'll give me 100 rupees to the dollar if I get in the car with them. What would you suggest I go with them and get the 100 rupees to the dollar? What am I going to get? If they tell me that here, the rand is maybe 17 to the dollar, if they pull up in a car and say, hey, ride with us, we'll give you 30 rand to the dollar, how many rand am I going to get? Do you tell me go ahead and go away with them? It's the best deal in town? If they tell me if I ride away in the car with them, they'll give me 30 rand to the dollar, how many rand am I going to get to the dollar? Who can tell me? No one knows? How many will I get? Ravindra? How many will I get? Kishore? They say, get in the car and take a ride with us, and we'll give you 30 rand to the dollar. And the real rate's only about 18. How many rand am I actually going to get? How many? You mean you'd get in the car with them if they tell you this? I'm not going to get any. I'm either going to get killed or beat up and robbed, aren't I? So we have to check what the situation is. We have to understand. And so sometimes people don't want to hear. The one person thinks, wow, the braai is great for them. And they think that getting 30 rand to the dollar is great. But the trouble is it's not going to happen. And people need to know. We don't go on the anti-braai campaign, but we do promote that we eat Krishna prasadam, which means it's not meat and it's not processed food. It's all grown from healthy things, and it's part of our Krishna conscious package. But we have to know that, and we have to think how we can be helpful to others. And sometimes it's just a matter of listening to what's going on with people. Is that Rupa Goswami says that we give gifts and receive gifts, and that we confidentially reveal our mind, and then that person puts all of it on Facebook and makes it sound worse, right? Is that what we do? Or do we listen to it carefully and then try to be helpful to the person? Sometimes we don't know what's helpful. Sometimes people just need somebody to listen to them. And so what we need to know is how to be a friend to people and how to teach people what Prabhupada really wanted. And we teach it in a way that we're sharing information, not that we're forcing people. Because people can come to the temple or they don't have to. That's why I tell people, someone comes for the first time, you set a very low goal for them. You know what that low goal is? If I meet someone here the first time, I set a very low goal. You know what that is? I want them to become a brahmachari. Is that it? No? I want them to come for Mangal Artik every day. I want them to quit smoking cigarettes. Or I want them to feel like they want to come back next week. Just like with sales, you set a low goal. Well, you like the car sales. Oh, would you like to come and take a test drive of our car? They get them to take one step forward, and then they move them to the next step. And so that's what we do. All right, we'll quit there. Any questions, comments, or corrections? I probably said 27 things wrong. Sometimes I put trick questions in, so here's a question. How many times did they do the soybean abhishek in Laguna Beach? How many? 0? So is it worth commenting on whether it's bona fide or not? It's like if we say, is dancing the Hoopa Loopa dance at the Durban Temple bona fide? Is it? Or since it didn't happen, there's no point in discussing it? We go a whole discussion about whether the Hoopa Loopa dance was bona fide or not. And then we find out later it didn't even happen. So why are we discussing it? You have to remember, the mind tells us what things are going through it, and not everything our mind tells us is true. We have to try to enter in. It's like I tell people, they say with the computer, garbage in, garbage out. That's the problem with the computer. It analyzes all the information, and based on the facts you give it, it comes out with an answer. The person told the chatbot that my wife left me, I want to kill myself. My wife left me, I lost all my money, I lost my job, my children don't want to talk to me, I'm feeling very depressed, I'm feeling like killing myself. What should I do? Chatbot says, sounds like killing yourself is the best solution. Well, based on the information you gave it, right? Isn't it? Yes? So we have to be careful. If we give our mind bad information, it returns bad information to us. Just like we were talking about the algorithms, that I keep getting things about Prabhupada Reels and Krishna Conscious programs. Is that because everyone gets them? No, if you put it in there, they give you more of them. Why don't I get any information about cricket? Is there nothing about cricket on the internet? Or is it that because I put nothing in, I got nothing back? So the mind is the same way. What you put in there, it starts finding ways and means to give you more of that. Wow, that looks good. Mind says, okay, you like that. Let's find more of that for you. So we have to be careful what we put in the mind. It'll give us more of it. It's just like that algorithm. The mind gives you what it repeats. I get nothing about cricket in my mind or on the internet. Does that mean no one does? Some people are obsessed with cricket. Some of the people in India said that cricket is my religion. And who's my God? You know who they would say? Who? Sachin, right? But he's a timid guy. He can't be God. So it doesn't mean because I get no information it didn't exist. So we have to be careful what we feed the mind. Computer is garbage in, garbage out. So I use the same formula, but we use Krishna conscious knowledge instead of garbage. And then Krishna conscious knowledge comes out. So sometimes it's difficult. And we have to be careful when we talk to people, because sometimes, like the person was asking Prabhupada the questions and they came back with some erroneous things, and Prabhupada said, why create misunderstanding? Misunderstanding is already there. Like they asked the one devotee, how do you feel you don't drink alcohol? Oh, I feel much better. Said, oh, you feel like you're better than I am? He didn't mean that. He meant he felt better about himself. So sometimes we have to be careful, because quite often what people are thinking you mean is more real than what you really mean. If someone's getting out the knife to cut fruit, I may be scared. I said that the deer, he got out the knife and says, you're not mad at me, are you? He says, no, I'm cutting up the fruit. Now, if I'm afraid of that, I'm afraid of something that's not really happening. But someone else says, here, drink some of this, and there's poison in it. I don't think there's any danger. So quite often what we're afraid of is not necessarily what's dangerous. Isn't it true? Right? People are afraid of lions. They kill 200 people a year. People kill 400,000. Mosquitoes kill, 4 million, and mosquitoes kill 7 million a year. So which is more dangerous, a lion or a mosquito? Does that mean you can play with the lions? No, it doesn't mean that. So, we will be here for tomorrow's Sunday Feast program. How many hours away is that I speak? 27 hours? Is that correct? 27 hours from now? All right, Hare Krishna. Where did Sukumari go? She was here, wasn't she? Yesterday I didn't have my reading distance glasses on, and I thought she was there. So if I thought she was there, does that mean she was there? No? And I don't think she's there now. Does that mean she's really here? No. Or is it not based on what I think? Okay. Uh-oh.